Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Nebraska women's basketball announced that tomorrow night's home game against Rutgers will be postponed due to health and safety protocols within the Huskers program. The Big Ten Conference will be responsible for determining the date of the rescheduled contest. If the game is not able to be rescheduled, it would count as a no contest for both teams, and tickets previously purchased would be refunded to ticket holders after the conclusion of the season. Originally set for a home series with San Diego State, the Huskers baseball program will venture to Arlington, Texas for 4 games in 2 days on March 4th and 5th. So the men's baseball team getting an update to their schedule as well. The Big Red will play Northwestern State and UT Arlington on Friday before a rematch with both teams on Saturday to wrap up that weekend's action. In college basketball tonight, just one game in the Big Ten. 13-4 Iowa will battle 10-6 Rutgers. That one's at 7:30 p.m. Minnesota was set to play Penn State, but that game has been postponed as well. Big Ten women's hoops also had a postponement as their only game on tonight was going to be Michigan State at number 6 Indiana. That will be attempted as well to be rescheduled at a later date. Some college games elsewhere. In men's basketball, number 13 LSU and 11-6 Alabama are just underway. And in our score center here right behind me, it's 2-0 LSU as they're just a couple minutes into the first half in that one. Over up north in Omaha, Creighton is up 7-2 over St. John's. That one's also just underway. And then later tonight, number 12 Kentucky is at 15-2 Texas A&M, with that game tipping off at 7:30 p.m. On the women's side, number 14 Oklahoma just tipped off against West Virginia, and number 15 Texas is in Iowa to battle number 7 Iowa State at 7:30 p.m. That's the ticker. My name's Tim Mulhaupt, and you're listening to Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Looks for Hybe, foul line extended right side. Dribble penetration, Sammy drives and scores. Jim Hybe.
Great finish by Nebraska. They're back within a possession. Here's McGowan's driving the ball to the rim and jams it right in the face of Payne. Posterized him. Put him on the poster. Burge puts his head down, drives it, floater off the rim, in and out, offensive rebound, put back, up and good by Walker, up and good by Big D.
Moriarty going to take the baseline, and now she's going to drive underneath, reverse layup, good for Kendall Moriarty. Are you kidding me?
Now that is a big-time one-handed reverse layup by Moriarty.
12:45 to go. Here's Trey McGowan's with a 3. Got it! Trey McGowan's his first three-point attempt of the year. After sitting all these games with a broken foot, his first shot is gold.
82-73, the Iowa lead out top. Markowski for 3. You betcha! Markowski has hit 6 threes.
Unbelievable.
And she's got 27 points.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome to our Hump Day show. Already to a Wednesday here this holiday week for a lot of you. A lot of people did not work on Martin Luther King Day, so you've already made it through your Wednesday. Congratulations. You're going to have another weekend coming up here in just a couple of days. Fun show lined up for you tonight. We're going to hear from the new running backs coach for the Big Red, Brian Applewhite, who's on the road recruiting for the Huskers. This is a recruiting phase of the calendar for the football coaches, so they are out and about. Nebraska's coaches scattered throughout the land, looking for mainly young men for the 2023 class, but still a couple guys that I think they're kicking the tires on that could sign in February this year. But primarily they're looking at juniors right now in high school, and so we're going to catch up with Coach Applewhite here in just a couple of minutes. Hour number 2, Nicklin Hames in the news here in the last week with her big decision to come back and be a part of the Husker program again next year. Different role, more than likely, for Nicklin coming up. And then she's going to hang around for an additional year to be a graduate assistant. Can't wait to hear Jessica's conversation with Nicklin. That'll be in hour number 2. Also, Husker men's tennis getting ready for a big showdown tomorrow night at the Dillon Tennis Center against number 2 Baylor. Coach Miamie will be here to talk about his team this year. That is open to the public tomorrow night. If you want to go watch some college tennis, that'd be a good one to go take in. So Coach Miamie will join us in hour number 2. And as always, phone lines, text lines open for you, 402-413-2400. A little frustrated tonight, I'll admit it right off the top here. Number 1, I set the thermostat yesterday at 50 degrees. Somebody messed with that sucker, and it's like 12 out there right now.
I know. I was so excited about the weather yesterday, and then I walked outside today. I was like, whoa, this is not it.
I'm going to blame Andrew because he's walking around. He didn't even have a jacket. He's just walking around with his little hoodie on. That's all he's got going on. So I'll blame Andrew for that.
It's the wind.
Yeah, it's cuts right through you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Just cuts right through you.
I made my dad. I'm like, hey, you got to hurry up and go potty. You got to make this a record potty.
Quick.
Because I am not standing out here while you mess about.
So that's my first frustration. And then number two, when we got the email this morning about the women's game being canceled or postponed tomorrow night with Rutgers, and I just was so excited, and I know Husker fans were excited to get back out and root that team on tomorrow night. I think a lot of us are in this boat, Jessica. We're into our third kind of year of dealing with this virus, and that it's affecting the sports calendar. And I know everybody's doing their best to try to avoid this. I know most of these athletes have been vaccinated. They're taking all the precautions, but doggone it, it just won't go away.
Yeah, and especially, too, I mean, not that you take any team in the Big Ten lightly, but Rutgers was an opportunity. They're 0-7 in the Big Ten, a chance to get back in the win column. We've talked so much over the last couple of weeks how tough this stretch was for that team, and then they were shorthanded at Iowa on Sunday, and so you feel like you get back home inside PBA, and the last couple of games that were played inside Pinnacle Bank Arena were just packed with fans, and they were excited to get back in that atmosphere and hopefully get back in the win column, get things rolling again. And so, yeah, just a tough time to be forced to have to postpone this game. Hopefully they can get it rescheduled because, again, I mean, we heard Trev talking about it when we had him on, back in August, and you were talking to him about how important it is to not miss out on home games and getting that revenue. And so hopefully they can get that game rescheduled because, potential home game inside PBA and a chance that you can get back in the win column. And when Big Ten play can be so tough night in and night out, you want those W's.
You mentioned Rutgers 0-7. The Sunday game with Illinois, which right now still on, but color me skeptical. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I mean, teams who miss one usually miss multiple games because of this. Illinois is 1-3. Next Thursday's game, which I'm fingers crossed that would happen, is Wisconsin. They are 1-5. So this is a stretch where you really felt like Coach Williams and that squad could really get healthy again with their confidence.
Well, and I think I saw that, was it Indiana had a game postponed
tonight.
Too? Yeah.
Tonight.
And that's who, just played. And so you just, again, I hope it's not a domino effect. But, yeah, and I think, too, another part of this with the women's team is they kind of got dinged up a little bit. And for a team that's been one of its strengths is how deep they've been and the number of players that they can call on the bench. And, the fact that they're even getting shorthanded now because that they have arguably one of the deepest benches, not just in this conference, but in the country, because you can call on so many people down the line on that bench. But, with Sam, being dinged up and then Bella coming off the ankle injury, which I think that's hurt them not having her. Alexis Markowski's been fantastic, and she's freshman of the week and national freshman of the week. But, you got to get her rest, and if she gets in foul trouble, and that's where I think Bella is she's so good defensively, and so I think getting her back, but she did play a little bit against Iowa, but just getting her back into the rotation will be big. But hopefully some of that too is just getting these players back healthy wise too, and not just COVID. Great point, because as deep as Nebraska is, you thought this would be a team that could avoid having to have interruptions in their schedule because of their depth, but because of some injuries. And I don't think it's all COVID. I think it's kind of a combination of the two, injuries and some COVID tests. They didn't really confirm that with Jazz Shelley, but you could sure read between the lines that that's probably what kept Jazz out of the Iowa game. And, Crypto on our YouTube channel says, I'm worried many sports are going to get canceled. I am too, Crypto. I mean, Husker Rifle had to cancel their weekend matches that were coming up this week. I know men's gym has battled some issues. Wrestling lost a match back in December. I'm frustrated. And I know everybody out there is. We want this behind us. We want us to get back to normal. And when you kind of feel like you get it to that point, this comes up again. Oh, it's just frustrating. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't keep up with everything, but hopefully we, can get through this and get on the downhill slide of this once we move into warmer weather and it doesn't affect the spring sports as much. And, school started here on campus on Tuesday. All of the students had to go back and get a test, and so that's probably why this is happening now.
Nebraska was not testing their athletes on a daily basis. They were if they had symptoms, they were running them through a test. But if they didn't have symptoms, they weren't just willy-nilly going and doing tests. Well, they had to this week, late last week and over the weekend to get back into school, which started on Tuesday. That's why I think this came up for the women's team.
Yeah, and it just hopefully, too, again, you know, with the different kind of changes to how long you have to be quarantined and if you're not showing symptoms, and hopefully, you know, it doesn't where it just keeps running through this entire team. So it doesn't, and same thing with, you know, if there's any cases, you know, within the men's team too, that it doesn't just pass along right through the team, that they can get it isolated and get it nipped in the bud, and then they can move on with the season.
We were having issues a month ago. We had several bowl games that got shuffled around. Teams had to back out of bowl games because of positive tests that they had in their programs. Heck, Rutgers got to play an extra football game because they got tabbed late to go take a spot in the Gator Bowl because of Texas A&M having to back out. It didn't affect the national semifinals. It has not affected Final Fours. Husker volleyball certainly got hit after the fact, but they were able to complete their season. So I guess in some ways we've been kind of fortunate in some part of these things.
Yeah, especially because we thought that it might get pretty bad at the end of last year, but, you know, at least we didn't have a football game canceled.
That's right.
I mean, that was just so big, and no home volleyball, no volleyball matches at all either. So, and those are two, you know, sellout crowds, and the fact that we were able to kind of keep playing all of those, because that's when they were going to just be canceled.
Right.
You know, they've changed the rule now where it's for basketball, it's just postponed,
Not forfeit.
try to reschedule. Yeah, but in the fall, it was if your team couldn't play, you were getting an L.
Yeah, which I was okay with at the time, but I think, and credit the powers to be to make this adjustment, because I think they saw this wave coming, that they were going to have multiple people out. Tim told you in the ticker, the one women's game in the league tonight postponed. There were two men's games, only one's getting played. We know the Huskers aren't playing Rutgers tomorrow night, so it's not a forfeit. And as Tim also mentioned, they're going to try to reschedule that. I don't know. I think it's hard. There's not many gaps in the schedule to reshuffle and get a game in. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, and especially with the you know, NCAA legislation that you have to have a day off, and then the travel, and it has to work for both teams. You know, how do you fit that in? So yeah, it just becomes such a nightmare jigsaw puzzle. You know, as we saw a couple of years ago, or last year, was it Gosh, it seems so long ago.
It was last year.
Yeah, last year, that, you know, when everything was kind of going on and trying to get those games crammed in and rescheduled it, and some teams didn't even get to play all of their games because they just couldn't figure it out. So hopefully it doesn't become the case now this time around.
Jessica, last year at this time, Fred Hoiberg's Huskers were out for 28 days. They went between games. I sure hope that's not the case with Amy Williams' squad. You'd hate for their momentum that they've built with this team gets halted by that. But we'll continue to follow that story. Buckle up, put that phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We do have Brian Applewhite coming up here in a few minutes. And I want to spend some time talking about that running back position. And, you know, I look at that room, Jessica, and I'm pretty encouraged. I really liked what I saw from Gabe Ervin before he got hurt in Norman against Oklahoma. I think he'll be completely healed up and ready to go for next season. Ramir Johnson really stepped up when he was given the opportunity to be the guy. Jock Yant is somebody who has a certain skill set that we all were entertained by him. And now you add in a junior college All-American into the mix, and also a high school back, Emmett Johnson, who was certainly a favorite of you to talk to, the young man from Minnesota. I like that room. I think that's going to be a good room.
I do too, and you got a lot of different styles of running backs. You mentioned Yant, that's going to just bulldoze and run people over, and you can't bring him down, and that's a great goal line situation. And I think he will learn a lot from everything that he went through last year. I know he was devastated on the goal line that he didn't get into the end zone at Minnesota, but I think those are such big learning experiences, and I think he's a guy that will take a lot away from those types of experiences. You mentioned Gabe Ervin. I mean, he's a guy that just was they just raved about how he handled his business, that he didn't seem like a freshman, and hated to see him, because I feel like, you know, again, with you adjust to college, and even though he came in and handled everything well, as far as practice goes, it's just such a different ball game when you get out there in the speed of the college game. And I think it took him a couple games to get a feel for things, but you could tell in that Oklahoma game he was starting to kind of maybe get a feel for how to run, you know, through the holes and read kind of the situations that he had at hand. And then, yeah, Ramir Johnson was just a huge bright spot. I was looking at it. How many he ended up being a guy that even just in the passing game, he caught some passes. So with Whipple and what he wants to do, I think that could be another guy that maybe you throw another wrinkle in, that maybe you throw the ball to him a little bit more. So I think you got a lot of different guys that you can do a lot with, and competition is just always so huge. And so you got. And look, it's inevitable. Guys get hurt and guys go down. We saw it last year, and you got to have a number of guys that you can call on.
I was so proud of Ramir. We bragged on him a lot in the fall about. There was a guy that everybody kind of gave up on, said he's probably going to transfer. He's like 5th on the depth chart in August. And the coaches kept saying, don't sleep on Ramir. He's doing really good things. And he ended up having a very good season. And Nebraska missed him when he got hobbled up late in the season. Then they threw Brody Bell out there, a little walk-on, and he did a heck of a job. And he's still around the program. So I'm not discouraged at all. I like where Nebraska sits in that room, and I think with Anthony Grant, the junior college All-American, coming in to add some depth, I think it's going to be a strong spot of this team.
Yeah, and it's just so different. Again, they were so young last year, and a lot of guys that didn't know, hadn't been here or hadn't played at this level or hadn't played much. And so even Gabe getting a feel for those few games that he had, I think will be huge for him, just getting a taste of it moving forward. And then, with Ramir being the guy when he hadn't been in that role before will be big. And so, I think and Emmett will be a guy that can come in and learn from those guys. So, and he's, you talked about it. I mean, blew me away when I talked to him. I think he's going to get in here and do all the right things and do whatever he can do to get on the field, whatever that might be. I mean, he's a guy that if he's got to play special teams and run down the field and tackle somebody, he's going to do it. So, I think they got a lot of good options in the room and a lot of guys that are hungry to get in there to compete and probably can do a lot of different things as well, even contribute to special teams.
It was 4 months ago Gabe got hurt. 4 months ago.
Wow.
So he's 4 months into rehab, which is probably halfway, maybe even past halfway.
Yeah, I mean, 6 months usually is the fastest. I think you can maybe come back from ACLs. Now, I don't think they'll rush him back, but yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt. I had heard that he had just been, again, handling his business like he was supposed to. I saw him walking around even the last game. He was down there on the field, and then in the locker room, he's, just even walking around, really good movement.
And that was almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, so he seemed to be in really great spirits, which is, it's so hard. I mean, I was on the sideline that game, filling in for Jeremiah, and he was devastated. And when he went down, and coming from somebody that tore both ACLs, I mean, it's hard because then you're kind of isolated, especially in the middle of the season like that when he was, the starting running back. And then now all of a sudden you're not going to practice and you are having to go to rehab and you're on your own doing that. And it's a tough process. A lot of times that's the hardest part, not even just the injury, but just grinding through that rehab. And so, he's the fact that he was so positive and seemed so positive when I saw him. I mean, obviously I wasn't, with him all the time, but the times that I saw him, he seemed to be positive, and hearing how he handled it, I think it speaks volumes, and that he's going to be able to bounce back from it, because that is the hardest part.
Sure is. There's a lot of lonely days.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you're on your own, but he's a really mature guy. I remember the coaches talking about that over the summer, like, Gabe Irvin's so mature. He's not like a true freshman that you feel like can't handle this. He can come in and handle us, and that's why I wouldn't sleep on Emmett.
Right.
I wouldn't just say, oh, he's going to redshirt. I don't know. I mean, I would not say that at that position, I think you can come in and make a dent pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him rotate it, every week, and I don't know if that's, what they wanted to do or what, but, again, with somebody goes down or if, something happens, I mean, you got to have, a stable of guys. And I just think with this offense, too, and Coach Whipple and, the different wrinkles he might add, I mean, you never know what someone could add, and even like the passing game and short passing yardage situations and whatnot. So, I think having different options and different kind of guys. And then, it was so fun to watch last year when he kind of came on and things kind of clicked for him and he got his opportunity. We'll see how he builds on that, because he didn't take care of his business, and he admitted that he didn't, once he got into fall camp, he didn't come back in shape and ready to go. So he had to really attack it in the fall. And so hopefully I think he will learn a lot from that and take it into this offseason and maybe attack it in a different way.
You mentioned the Minnesota play. That was a mental mistake on his part. He went the wrong direction on the handoff near the goal line, and that was that goal line stand that the Gophers put up where, personally, I thought Adrian was in for the touchdown. But That's another story. But, yeah, that was a mental mistake that he's got to grow from and learn, and he can't do that again. The next time he gets that opportunity, and I think if he does, he will score.
Well, and Ramir had gone down. And so, again,
Right.
I think that's one of those situations where maybe, you want to give the ball to Ramir, but Ramir couldn't go. Did he have a concussion, I think? Yeah, concussion. So you had to give it to Yan, who had never been in that kind of situation. And, it's just a lot of pressure and a lot on the line there. And so I think just being in that situation and kind of learning from it will pay dividends for him moving forward.
When I was running down the names, I forgot Marquise Stepp.
Oh, yeah.
He's still in that room, too, and he had the 100-yard game earlier in the season. So there's a guy that's shown that he can play at this level. Obviously, you need more out of Marquise than we got last year, but there's another guy to add to that room, some more depth.
And I think, too, just the offensive line kind of took some time for them to kind of figure some things out. I mean, once Nuri came in and they had shuffled things around, I mean, they got better as the season went along, but it kind of took a few games. So that will also help, the run game as well. I think getting some of those guys back that have been in those situations. I heard Jeremiah say it time in and time out about it's hard when you're young and you're kind of trying to figure out. And a lot of those guys need to put on some weight. And so I think, and then some of the transfer additions, portal additions that they got, hopefully that the line will be able to establish the run game and help those running backs out as well.
Here we go, a little snapshot at the Husker running back room. Why that much? Because Brian Applewhite, the new running backs coach, coming up next.
Get your ice cold Bud Light seltzer here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery.
Hey, Bud Light!
I'm ready!
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
Wherever your path leads, the Mazda CX-30 is made to help you follow it. With an invigorating design and elegant cabin, the Mazda CX-30 will give you a drive worth experiencing. Powered by a turbocharged engine, the dynamic performance and premium stitching makes every moment worth savoring. Shop our Mazda CX-30 lineup at one of our 2 convenient locations at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place just off 144th and Giles Road. Online at woodhousemazda.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
I'm Bruce Chubbuck, and I'm your local Flat Branch Home Loans lender. At Flat Branch Home Loans, we pride ourselves on living, working, and playing in the communities we serve. In my playing days at the University of Nebraska, I was known as a blue-collar worker. I take the same pride in being your mortgage professional as I did in representing Husker Nation. Head to brucechubbuck.com to learn more. Let's get you home.
A division of Flat Branch Mortgage, Inc., NMLS 224149, Equal Housing Lender. For licensing info, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
Here is a before winter to-do list from J-Tech Construction. Let's start with windows. Triple pane window technology has saved homeowners countless dollars on heating and cooling bills. Siding serves a crucially important purpose, protecting your home and insulating it from adverse weather conditions. And don't forget about your roof. Designing your roof should be simple and painless, and J-Tech offers several payment plan options. One more thing on your to-do list, call J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
See beyond traditional security with Kidwell. Kidwell's experts collaborate with its data cabling and IT teams to design and install surveillance camera systems that integrate with your network, are easy to manage, and can be accessed from anywhere. The Kidwell team assures every piece of technology performs seamlessly and creates greater confidence and a higher level of protection for your business and staff. From video surveillance to information technology to data cabling. See beyond to what's possible at KidwellInc.com.
Hey Husker fans, this is Anne-Marie from the Nebraska Beef Council. Just like the Big Red wins on the court, you can win at the dinner table with great tasting beef. From steaks and roasts to ground beef and kebabs, there are countless ways to create a meal that will have your family cheering for more. Visit beefitswhatsfordinner.com for easy beef recipes, cooking tips, and meal inspirations. Beef, it's what's for dinner in Nebraska.
Brought to you by Nebraska's beef producers and their beef checkoff.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Delighted to be joined tonight by the newest member of Scott Frost's coaching staff, and that is running backs coach Brian Applewhite. Brian comes to Nebraska from TCU, where he's been a part of the Horned Frogs program the last couple of years. Coach, great to have you with us. Congratulations. What's the last week or so been like for you?
Oh, it's been a whirlwind. First of all, just so incredibly excited and privileged and honored to be a part of Husker Nation, and it's been unbelievable. You know, growing up and going to high school in eastern Colorado, and get the phone call from Coach Frost about offering me the job. You know, it was just a dream come true. You know, when I'm going back and living in eastern Colorado, you couldn't go to school when I was in middle school and not be able to talk about the Nebraska CU game. And you better be able to talk about all the Nebraska players, and you better be able to talk about, you know, what happened and who scored what touchdown. It was great. You know, it's just surreal still. I'm still kind of hasn't sunk in yet.
Well, I know it's been a whirlwind for you the last 10 days or so. You know, recruiting's obviously a front and center right now. Have you even been on campus yet since you took the job?
Yes. Yeah, I came on campus. So Coach Frost offered me, I accepted the job, I believe it was last Wednesday. I packed all my stuff up Thursday. I drove up Friday. Got to Lincoln at about 2:30 last Friday. And then I knew, you know, the young man that had committed already, Anthony Grant. I knew him already just from in the past of trying to recruit him at TCU, so I was excited to jump in and start working on him to become a Cornhusker. And got on the plane Sunday and came back down to Texas to start selling Husker Nation again.
What were your impressions, Coach, of the stadium, the facilities that you'll be working in?
Breathtaking. I was the last time I was on campus as you know, generally on campus walking around was Husker football camp in 1992, summer of 1992, which was my senior year in high school. So I just dated myself. But and just to see how much Lincoln, this university has changed since then. It was unbelievable, and the facilities. You know, it's the mecca of the Midwest.
Yeah, and visiting with Brian.
That's what I would say.
Sorry, again, visiting Brian Applewhite here on Sports Nightly, the Huskers' new running backs coach, part of and finishes off Scott Frost's coaching staff for the upcoming year. Coach, you mentioned Anthony Grant. He's the young junior college running back who did sign with the Cornhuskers over the weekend. You mentioned a little bit about him. Tell me more. Tell me more about what Anthony brings to the table. What excites you about him?
Yeah, so Anthony's an explosive kid. He's got tremendous vision. He's just start to stop for a kid his size is unbelievable for what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's got incredible instincts. He's tough. He's got great hands out of the backfield. He just, I was just tickled to death, excited to get the opportunity to work with him.
Did you get a chance in the couple of days you were here to even meet any of the other guys that you'll be coaching, or is that still to come for you?
That's still to come. It happened so fast. I started a group thread with all of them, introduced myself, gave them my number, kind of gave them a little motivational thing that I wanted to talk about. Let's get this thing rolling, let's get the party started. Being excellent is an everyday thing, and just to get in touch with me when I get back, when recruiting's over with, and we get back to the office. I want to sit down and meet with each one of them individually, and have them share their thoughts on Nebraska and their visions of Cornhusker football and what I have envisioned for each and every one of them, so we can get on that same page and start doing some special things.
How would you describe yourself as a coach? What kind of philosophy do you have?
Well, that's a great question, because I never really got the opportunity to forget what it was like to be a player. I went straight from player to coach. So I was coaching my first spring guys I was in the room with that fall. And so I understand what happens and what you go through every day as a student athlete. And so I never forgot that. And so it's more of I'm demanding, but I'm also I understand. I want perfection. I want physicality, I want toughness, but I also understand that there are some outside things, especially now in today's, way of social media and all that is. There's a lot of pressure on student athletes, students in general, period. And so I understand that there are some things that are going to get in the way of that, but at the end of the day, we've got to stay focused on what our task is at hand, and that's you came to one, to college to get a degree, and two, to be the best person that you can possibly be and help Nebraska win football games.
Again, visiting with Brian Applewhite, the new running backs coach for the Huskers here on Sports Nightly. Coach, you're one of a handful of new coaches on the staff. That's got to be kind of fun, right? So you're not just the only new kid on the block. There's going to be a group of you kind of growing and learning each other together.
Oh, it's exciting. When I got to TCU, I was the only new guy, so it was a learning experience for me, because they had all been in the with going through the process with Coach Patterson for the past 20, 24 years, some of them, and so they knew the way everything ran, and I was kind of like learn on the go. It'll be a little bit like that with Coach Frost in Nebraska football, but also, like you said, there are some new guys on the offensive side of the ball, which I'm excited about with the fresh new ideas. I love what Coach Whipple does on offense. I love what Coach Joseph did and what he brings to the table coming from LSU. Coach Raiola coming from Chicago. So I'm excited to bring some of the things that I've done in the past 20 years on offense, and get it all blend together and, let's make something happen.
You mentioned you've been out recruiting the last couple of days. What's the power? Is the end still recognizable? What kind of reception have you gotten now that you have a Husker hat that you're wearing?
Every school that I've gone to, I've got a Go Big Red as soon as I walked in. And it's been unbelievable. The Big N is still known throughout the country. And I think that has to go back to what Coach Osborne did and what Coach Solis did back in the 80s and early 2000s. Like I said, you couldn't go to school where I went to school and not talk about Nebraska football. I mean, I can go back to, I tease coaches, and I was talking to Anthony Grant about this. It's like, do you know who the first running back was in the history of the NFL to rush for 1,000 yards and have 1,000 yards receiving? And two, what college did he go to? And he couldn't say it. It was Roger Craig.
Yeah.
And, and that, but you come down to Texas, you ask a high school coach that, they know that answer. A lot of people said, that's the original tailback U. And, I agree with them. And so the Nebraska football it's alive all over, especially down here where I'm at in Texas. And you can see by the reception I get from the coaches, even the secretaries and some teachers, as I walk through the halls going to coaches' offices, they'll say, "Go Big Red," or, "Oh, Nebraska, wow, that's unbelievable. They're here." So it's been great.
Hey, just a side note, Roger Craig's long overdue to be put in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's just my little editorial comment there. He's such a great player.
Oh, mine too. Oh, yeah, mine too. He should be in. I mean, to do what he did that long ago, and I think the next guy to do it was Christian McCaffrey.
And we know he will be a Hall of Famer someday as well. Coach, I don't know how much you knew about this past season for Nebraska. It was a frustrating one because the Huskers were in every single game, couldn't quite get over the hump. Do you get the sense that the program is close to maybe turning a big corner?
Oh, yes. This is definitely close. I watched it. Like I said, you got to watch Nebraska football, and I'm rooting for them. And it was a play here, a play there, a missed snap here, someone made a little mistake there. I mean, it's really, really close. And that was what's so exciting about this opportunity is I want to be a part of getting the ship right.
Very good. Last thing for you, Coach. Tell me about your family. What are their thoughts about this move?
Oh, they're excited. They're in the middle of their spring sports right now, so they're hot and heavy in that. But they ask every day, what's going on. Did you bring me are you going to send me a Nebraska shirt? My teacher wants a Nebraska hat. This person wants a sweatshirt. But they're excited. They're high schoolers, so they're born in the 2000s. They have no idea what Nebraska football means or Nebraska athletics in general. They kind of starting to get a sense of it, but they're extremely excited to be part of Husker Nation.
Well, Coach, we're excited to have you on board. Can't wait to meet you in person. Travel safe, and look forward to a lot of fun here in the upcoming years for the Huskers and for you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Go Big Red.
There he is, Brian Applewhite, the new running backs coach for the Cornhuskers, joined us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, which is brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. All right, phone lines back open for you, 402-413-2400 if you want to join us with a call or a text. The same number applies for our text line. Jessica will rejoin me next.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, more than Toyota RAV4 or Honda Passport. It's the best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of July 2020. Visit Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue or at beardmoresubaru.com.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today we're tackling the issue of GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. GMOs may sound scary, but they're actually benefiting our environment and consumers. That's because GMO crops help solve specific problems like insects, food waste, and droughts. By selecting good traits from one plant or organism and adding them to another, farmers are safely using science to produce high-quality foods better than ever before. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska researchers are designing the next generation of roadside steel barriers through an industry partnership with Trafix Devices. This partnership has produced the Delta Crash Cushion, a simplistic, effective way to keep drivers safe on highways. This barrier is vital for roadside safety and significantly improves the chances motorists will be able to walk away from roadside collisions.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to Ag Answers, where we answer common questions related to farming and ranching. Today's topic, animal agriculture. There's been a lot of talk suggesting that giving up meat is good for the environment. However, livestock emissions only account for less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, by reducing meat in your diet, you're missing out on all sorts of beneficial nutrients like protein, iron, and zinc. This message is brought to you by Nebraska's corn and soybean farmers.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he's so cold. The furnace is out again. But wait, he sees an opening. SOS! SOS, he screams and calls 391-2336. SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer. Boy, he made the right call today as SOS is already on the way. SOS is your trustworthy company since 1950, and with Luxair, you get free 10-year labor warranty with the new system. Call 391-2336 or visit soshvac.com today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen in on a transmission from Major Laura Stanton, the first person on Mars after a 7-month mission to the planet.
Houston, do you read me?
Copy that, Major. Anything you need?
Yeah, what were last night's Powerball numbers?
With the starting jackpot in the millions in drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, everybody wants to know about Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery.
What's it look like there, Major?
Red.
Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
I'm Bruce Chubbuck, and I'm your local Flat Branch Home Loans lender. At Flat Branch Home Loans, we pride ourselves on living, working, and playing in the communities we serve. In my playing days at the University of Nebraska, I was known as a blue-collar worker. I take the same pride in being your mortgage professional as I did in representing Husker Nation. Head to brucechubbuck.com to learn more. Let's get you home.
A division of Flat Branch Mortgage, Inc., NMLS 224149, Equal Housing Lender. For licensing info, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2021 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with 8.7 inches of ground clearance, more than Toyota RAV4 or Honda Passport. It's the best Outback ever. The 2021 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of July 2020. Visit Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue or at beardmoresubaru.com.
Hello, I'm Tom Osborne.
And I'm Coach Frost.
Statistics prove that youth who are mentored and receive support and guidance from a caring adult show measurable improvement in academic achievement, motivation to succeed, and hope.
Over the past 30 years, Teammates has served more than 43,000 youth, and right now there are more than 1,000 waiting for a Teammates mentor to visit with them once a week in school.
For more information on how you can help the Teammates Mentoring Program, please go to teammates.org, and thank you for supporting our youth.
Sponsored by Nebraska Crossing Fast Cash app.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you here on a Wednesday night, 402-413-2400 if you want to call or text. John in Omaha, I'm sorry I did not see your text earlier. He wanted to ask Coach with all the different types of running backs you're going to have in your room, what are 2 top traits you look for in your contributors? Sorry, John, I missed that. I should have asked. I did ask him about his coaching style a little bit. Hopefully you all enjoyed that
I can tell you
chat.
one of them is going to be blocking.
Yep, picking up those blitzers.
Yep.
Got to be a big part of it. Let's head to the phones. We'll stay in Lincoln. Richard, you're up next here on Sports Island. Good evening.
Good evening. This is a volleyball question. I heard a report that Kayla Caffey would like to come back and play another year for Nebraska volleyball if the NCAA allows it. Now, she has kind of an interesting history because she's got a COVID year in there, and then I think there were a couple of years where she had some medical things. Can you kind of run that down for me and tell me what she has to do and what the NCAA has to decide?
All right. Yeah, Richard, appreciate it. Thanks for the call. I've seen some of those reports. There's been nothing official out of the volleyball office on Kayla. I know they would love to have her back, and I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be allowed to come back. He's exactly right. Last year didn't even really exist in the eyes of the NCAA. I think she would be more than welcome to come back.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the way that the NCAA has looked over the last few years, denying student athletes eligibility this time around. I don't think they're doing much of that. So hopefully it's just a petition to, it's just, you know, you have to go through all the proper protocols and channels to get that year approved. Even, you know, I know it's for the 7th year, but even when you talk about athletes that have 6 years. So you have, you know, your typical red shirt that you just don't play, and then you have a medical red shirt. You have to go through and get that approved to get that 6th year. But then you throw in the COVID year that was that extra year of eligibility. I don't think it'll be a problem. It's probably just a matter of going through the process of getting it approved.
You know, Richard's right. She missed the 18 season when she was at Missouri. She had a leg injury that prevented her from playing in 2018. Then she did play in Nebraska. In 19, she was a sophomore at Missouri. Then 20, she transferred to Nebraska. And then 21 was this past fall. I don't see any reason that the NCAA would prevent her from playing. I know she's graduated. She's an elementary ed major. In fact, I believe she was doing some teaching in a Lincoln Elementary this past fall, but boy, I know Coach Cook would welcome her back with open arms. She's so dynamic.
KCT, Kayla Caffey time. Yeah, no, she's and what a great.
You had a great conversation with her, right? I think when the tournament started, right?
Yeah,
right?
She was kind of nervous, but then you talked to her. She was fantastic. She has such a great personality, and I think there was. A lot can be taken away from a team. Like we're going to hear from Nicklin here in a little bit. But, when you get the taste of that and you're so close and the things that kind of started to work and how that team kind of came together to have some of those leaders come back and reinforce that again for next year, I think would be big. And Kayla's loved on the team. And, boy, like you said, she's just dynamic. So.
I'm a novice at this for volleyball, but it seemed to me when she played really well, Nebraska's really hard to beat.
Well, and even the times that they needed kind of a momentum swing, she'd come in and get it done. I mean, would be turn things around, turn the train completely around. And so just with some of her playmaking abilities, and I think she would be a huge addition to get back, especially with, Lauren Stivrins moving on and being done. To have Kayla Caffey back would be absolutely massive.
They're like a month away from starting their beach season.
Yeah.
So that's not far off. In fact, Tim and Andrew and I were in here yesterday, and Coach Reyes ran by the windows, and I poked my head out and congratulated him because he got a bump up. He's kind of the number 2 guy now on the staff.
And he's so well liked within the team, and so is Kelly. I mean, I think
love Kelly.
You'll hear Nicklin kind of talk about Tyler Hildebrand and how much he meant to her, and he was very well liked on this team. They were sad, but they all like these 2 assistant coaches so much, and they respect them so much. And I just don't think they're going to miss a beat as good. And Tyler Hildebrand's fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I think they've got 2 superstars in the waiting that are going to be able to just reload. As the team reloads, I think so. John Cook will reload his coaching staff.
One of the great things about Coach Cook is he coaches up his assistants. And that's why so many of them have gone on and run their own program and doing so well at their own programs.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually asked Nicklin about that, and we've heard so much about this last year about Coach Cook, and it's how he evolves. And, what he did that worked so well for him when he first started, when he took this program over. That doesn't work. Not all of that works right now. What worked 10 years ago doesn't work. He's constantly evolving, constantly learning, constantly challenging himself. And in turn, that challenges his players, it challenges his staff, and it's all kinds of parts of it that, they take away and they learn, and then they're able to implement it when they move on.
It's one thing coaches do kind of have to remake themselves. John has done it a couple of times in his career. And I think Scott Frost can do that. I think Scott Frost is kind of in the midst of doing that right now, going, okay, it really didn't work this way. I'm going to have to do some things different. I'm going to have to hire a veteran guy like Mark Whipple and say, you run this thing and let me do some other things. And that's why I'm optimistic about where this can go in football as well.
Yeah, and I think just adding guys that like Mickey Joseph.
Yep.
We just have seen the kind of lift and buzz he's given immediately on the recruiting trail. And then some of these other guys that have been added on the staff, it's just, just can completely kind of change the trajectory. But again, being willing to kind of make those moves and change a little bit and find a different a different tweak to your staff and bring in different elements. And that's important. That's big. And I think absolutely. And it just seems like he's been so open, and he wants to win more than anybody. And so just the fact that he's kind of been willing and open to find what is necessary for his staff to hopefully get this thing righted the right way.
Richard, appreciate the call. Long story. I think absolutely Kayla's going to get that extra year. I would expect her, if she wants to continue playing, sounds like she does, I would love to see her at the Devaney Center playing again next fall. Nebraska 811 says, go dig red. Before you dig, always call or click 811 to have your utility lines marked. It's free. It's easy. It's the law. Back with our final segment of Hour 1 next.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen in on a transmission from Major Laura Stanton, the first person on Mars after a 7-month mission to the planet.
Houston, do you read me?
Copy that, Major. Anything you need?
Yeah, what were last night's Powerball numbers?
With the starting jackpot in the millions and drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, everybody wants to know about Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery.
What's it look like there, Major?
Red.
Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
A shield against the elements. Comfort in the midst of chaos. Shelter in the aftermath of destruction. For 75 years, Shelter Insurance has remained true to our promise to be there when you need us most. This is the heartbeat of our company, our why. Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life.
Get the insurance coverage you need at the right price. See Agent Scott Jeffers in McCook today.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card. Free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hey folks, this is Famous Dave. You know the difference between an ordinary get-together and a famous one? At most parties, the food's pretty forgettable. But imagine your table loaded with award-winning barbecue, chopped pork sandwiches, roasted chicken, and mouth-watering juicy ribs. From birthdays to corporate events, any size groups, we'll customize our menu to fit your budget. Make your next get-together fun and famous with catering from Famous Dave's. Visit famousdaves.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Dennis on our text line. What steps do they follow on women's basketball to keep the players from each other during COVID? In other words, you can't go here or there. What do you think Amy Williams is trying to do there?
Well, I do think probably if a player does test positive, they can't practice, but I think they could probably come in the gym later and shoot by themselves, you would think. But it's so hard because then once it's out, it's out. But I think they're still going through all the, wearing your masks and, when you go to class and, disinfecting and cleaning. And I was in there at the track the other day and they brought it. I think they bring in a crew every single morning.
Wow.
To clean the track. So it's, they're trying to make sure that all of that disinfecting is getting done.
Dennis, appreciate it. Thanks for the text. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. 1 hour in the books. We're going to hear from Nicklin Hames, who had a big announcement last week that she's coming back. Different role for her for Husker volleyball moving forward. We'll have that. We'll talk some men's tennis for the Cornhuskers and more of your calls, comments, texts coming up in hour 2.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
United Healthcare believes small businesses are vital to our economy and an important part of our communities. Join United Healthcare in celebrating small businesses. I'm Rob Broomfield, United Healthcare of Nebraska's CEO and a graduate of the University of Nebraska. We want to recognize your small business with the Spotlight on Small Business Sweepstakes. Winners receive radio interviews, social media recognition, and more. To enter, visit huskers.com/spotlight. United Healthcare, proud partner of Husker Sports.
Start the new year in a new gear with a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee L from Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Blair during the Start Something New sales event going on now. An SUV made to feel like home, crafted with exceptional materials and elevated craftsmanship. From test drive to purchase, Woodhouse makes it easy to shop in-store or online at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com. Stop out and see us for a test drive. This is Woodhouse.
Here is a before-winter to-do list from J-Tech Construction. Let's start with windows. Triple-pane window technology has saved homeowners countless dollars on heating and cooling bills. Siding serves a crucially important purpose, protecting your home and insulating it from adverse weather conditions. And don't forget about your roof. Designing your roof should be simple and painless, and J-Tech offers several payment plan options. One more thing on your to-do list, call J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
You live in a smart home powered by Cox Internet, so you're not thinking about the pizza delivery. You're thinking how nice it is to get everyone together for a fun night. You're not thinking about the pizza, maybe just a little.
Cox Home Life. Show me the front porch camera.
Pizza!
View your Cox Home Life cameras right from your TV using your Contour voice remote. Visit cox.com/thisishome to learn more.
Advertised features require subscription to Cox Internet and Contour TV. A high-speed internet connection is required. Home Life Security Services subject to Home Life Security Service Agreement. Cox Home Life Services provided by Cox licensed entities. See cox.com/licenses.
Welcome inside the Acres Broadcast Center. I'm Tim Mulhaupt, and this is your Sports Nightly Ticker. Nebraska women's basketball announced that tomorrow night's home game against Rutgers will be postponed due to health and safety protocols within the Huskers program. The Big Ten Conference will be responsible for determining the date of the rescheduled contest. If the game is not able to be rescheduled, it will count as a no contest for both teams. Tickets previously purchased would be refunded to ticket holders after the conclusion of the season. Huskers baseball originally was set for a home series with San Diego State. Instead, now the Huskers will venture to Arlington, Texas for 4 games in 2 days on March 4th and 5th, where they'll play Northwestern State and UT Arlington. In college basketball tonight, just one Big Ten game on, a lot of postponements. 13-4 Iowa will take on 10-6 Rutgers. That one's set to tip off in just under half an hour. Minnesota was set to play Penn State, but that game has been postponed. Big Ten women's hoops had that one game postponed. It was Michigan State. It was going to be a good one against number 6 Indiana. That will also be attempted to be rescheduled at a later date. Some other college games going on in men's basketball of note. Number 13 LSU and 11-6 Alabama are in a good one. 33-32. It's the Crimson Tide ahead at half. Number 12 Kentucky is at 15-2 Texas A&M, with that game tipping off at 7:30 p.m. And on the women's side in college basketball, Creighton up 49. That's, excuse me, the men's side, 49-34 at half. So excuse me for that one. On the women's side, West Virginia leads number 14 Oklahoma 46-44 in the third. Number 15 Texas and number 7 Iowa State are tied at 18 in the second quarter. That's the ticket. That's the ticker. My name is Tim Mulhaupt, and you're listening to Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Looks for Hybe, foul line extended right side. Dribble penetration, Sammy drives and scores. Jim Hybe.
Great finish by Nebraska. They're back within a possession. Here's McGowan's driving the ball to the rim and jams it right in the face of Payne. Posterized him. Put him on the poster. Burge puts his head down, drives it, floater off the rim, in and out, offensive rebound, put back, up and good by Walker, up and good by Big D.
Moriarty going to take the baseline, and now she's going to drive underneath, reverse layup, good for Kendall Moriarty. Are you kidding me?
Now that is a big-time one-handed reverse layup by Moriarty. 12:45 to go. Here's Trey McGowan's with a three. Got it! Trey McGowan's his first three-point attempt of the year. After sitting all these games with a broken foot, his first shot is gold.
82-73, the Iowa lead out top. Markowski for 3. You betcha! Markowski has hit 6 threes.
Unbelievable.
And she's got 27 points.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Here we are, back hour 2 here on a Wednesday night. But you know what? We've got great news for everybody. We're going to be here all tomorrow night, too.
Yeah.
Because of the news. I wish we weren't, because I wish we were having Husker basketball tomorrow night, but the game has been postponed, hopefully to a later date. Nebraska and Rutgers, so we'll have a full show coming your way tomorrow night. We have locked in Mark Manning, who will be joining us from Madison, Wisconsin, where the Husker wrestling team will be ready for a duel on Friday night with Wisconsin. So we'll talk some Husker wrestling tomorrow night with Coach Manning. Coming up this hour, Nicklin Hames made a big decision for her future with Husker volleyball and maybe her future in coaching as well last week. Jessica had a chance to catch up with her. We're going to have that for you here in a couple of minutes. And we'll hear from Husker men's tennis coach Sean Miamie. They've got a big match tomorrow night with the second-ranked Baylor Bears at the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center here on the UNL campus. We still keep the phone lines always open for you, 402-413-2400. The number to dial us up with a comment, a question, or fire off a text. I did want to say, last night we got into the conversation, we had a caller who was tongue-in-cheek talking about Tom and Jerry's, and you and I were clueless. We didn't know that it's like a eggnog alcoholic drink.
I got a couple texts about that, giving me a hard time that we were so clueless. And we were just kind of laughing with that. Oh, maybe he meant Ben & Jerry's. It's like, hey, bring it on the Ben & Jerry's. So we
see, you and I think about ice cream, and other people think about it as a little spice drink. Tim in Minnesota did sound off on that on a text. He said, I'm definitely pro eggnog. Greg, or whoever said it, it is an acquired taste, as it is a taste I have acquired. I think there's a sweetness in the taste that won me over.
I don't like it, but then I also don't like the fact I'm drinking eggs.
You don't like a lot of eggs, or just the fact that
scrambled.
Yeah.
Not
just
liquid,
down.
not in liquid form.
Not like Rocky Balboa
No.
drinking those egg mixes, build
I'm
his
out on
strength
that.
up.
So, yeah, we totally missed that because he said he had told Andrew and them that he's going to make a joke. And it would have been funny because I did have a couple people that said it was funny, but it went over our heads.
I didn't get it.
My
The Reverend got it straightened out on what it was, so didn't know that.
Leave it to the Reverend.
Well, Jessica, I don't think there's any doubt one of the most popular athletes on this campus is Nicklin Hames, the setter the last couple of years for Husker volleyball. Without COVID, her career would be over, but COVID is giving her an extra year, and she's come to a big decision that you and her talked about.
Yeah, she's coming back and had a long conversation with her. She's fantastic. Lots of different things that we hit on, but yeah, that's kind of where we started is what went into that decision and why, and you're here in a different role. What does that role look like? So coming out, you're coming back, but in a new role. Tell us a little bit about it and the decision process and all the details. We want all the details.
All the details, okay. Yeah, so I talked to Coach after season. We kind of just discussed what I wanted for my future, and I want to go into coaching, and I was going to have the opportunity to be a GA here and to learn under John Cook and Jalen and Kelly. I mean, what else could you ask for? I mean, they're great coaches, and so being able to learn under them, that went into it a lot because I really want to be a coach. And then, you know, I love this team. I love this place. I love this program. And so when I thought about it, just leaving here for just even 6 months, I couldn't because I've built roots here, and I love this place. And so I decided that if I did come back, I would be in a different role. I'm not exactly sure what that role is going to look like. I won't be setting, but probably some defense, some back row. We'll see if I can still pass. We're gonna practice that. But you know, I don't have all the huge expectations for my role. You know, I'm gonna be a leader, someone that people can lean on and talk to, and if that means I'm on the bench cheering my butt off for my teammates, and I'm happy doing that. And I'm excited about this new role because I think it'll give me a different perspective than I've had the past 4 years.
Yeah, why are you kind of okay with, you know, not going out as a setter and doing whatever that role kind of entails moving forward? But why were you okay with that, and why was that something you were interested in doing?
Yeah, I was okay with it. I mean, it's obviously hard to process at first because I've been a setter basically my entire life. But once I thought about what I really wanted long term, it just made sense. And I've really had my time as setter here at the program, and I want what's best for this program going forward, and that's what's best for this program. And I have full faith in Ani and Kennedy. I mean, they're going to be amazing, and I'm excited to be able to help them really understand what it's like going into that role. Because I went in my freshman year, and it was a lot. It was stressful, and to be able to support them during their time to get out there.
It was one thing that I really noticed right away, just, you know, the setters, you guys are all really close, and it's kind of like a quarterback room a little bit. And Ani talked about how you guys all kind of put in a lot of extra work together. You watch a lot of film together and whatnot. And so, you know, with Kennedy and her, you know, she came in such highly touted. How excited are you to be able to help her and kind of help her step into this role? Because there's a lot of pressure being a setter at Nebraska.
Yeah, first of all, I do love our setter group. We call it a little setter group. We all have our little matching shirts. All the other positions are like, why can't we get shirts? It's a setter thing. Only setters get the shirts. But yeah, you know, coming in my freshman year, I had great leadership and support from Kenzie and Michaela Fecke, and that meant the world to me. You know, when you come in at Nebraska, the expectation is to win championships, and it's hard when you're in that setter position because, you know, if a setter has a bad day, everyone has a bad day. And so I'm excited to offer that support and that knowledge and what I learned my freshman year going through it, because it can be a lot, but if you have someone there to support you and help you through it, it makes it a lot easier.
We've seen what Ani can do, obviously, but Kennedy's one that we didn't get to see a lot of last year. So what does the future maybe look like? What's the ceiling like for Kennedy?
Oh, it's so high. I mean, she is so talented. Me and Ani are always so jealous of her because she has the biggest hands, and so the ball just comes out beautifully. And I mean, she's a stud, and she's worked so hard to get back. I know it was a really hard journey for her with her ACL and coming back from that. And so I'm just excited to see her in that position and knowing that like she can just go for it and not feel held back by anything. And so I'm excited because she's a stud. I mean, she's just such a great athlete too. So I'm excited to see where she can reach.
Okay, let's go back and reflect a little bit. When you guys walked off the court for the final time, coming up just short, what was the feeling? I mean, because what a season and what a run, and you guys really came together, and you had to be proud of where you got, but then I know you probably were disappointed that it wasn't a national title, right?
Yeah, you know, when you lose by 3 points, it stings. Because you look back on all the plays and you're like, what could I have done? What 3 points could we have gotten back? But then that kind of turns into a whirlwind, and it's a lot to process like that. This actually has happened to me twice now. My freshman year, we lost by 3 points. But, you know, you just hug each other, you cry it out. I love a good cry, you know, get those emotions out. And then just honestly, I reflected on how great this season was. I mean, if you would have told us at the beginning of the season that we'd be playing for a national championship and we'd lose by 3 points, I don't think a lot of people would have believed you. And it just, towards the end, the momentum and the joy that we had playing with each other, it made it so special. And I was super proud. You know, we hadn't played Wisconsin that good maybe my entire career here. And for us to go out there and play like we did, I was just super proud to be a part of that team.
So the time in Austin, when you guys just punched your ticket to the Final Four, you guys were playing just crazy good volleyball, and it kind of seemed like that's when everything peaked for you guys. Did it feel like that was coming that weekend?
Yeah, I felt like this year overall we hadn't gone out and played how we did in practice, and finally that game on the biggest stage we finally did. And that game meant a lot because the past 2 years, that's the game that we've lost in the tournament. And we just always didn't play our best, and we didn't go for it, and we kind of scared away in those situations. And at Texas, in that environment, we went for it. And the outcome was great. And so that was a huge hurdle to get over. And like the joy that our team had, I think that's when our team really unified together. And then we said, we're all playing with one heart. And I think that was the game that started it all.
So, you know, at the top you talked about that you wanted to get into coaching. When did that become something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, so both my parents are coaches, and they run their own volleyball club. So I've literally been around it since probably I was born, came out of the womb in a gym. So I just saw the impact that they had on young girls' lives and the community in general, and I want to be able to do that and give back. I've gained so much knowledge from playing here at Nebraska and my entire career, and I want to give that back. And I've had those great coaches that make that impact on you for life, and I want to be able to do that.
We've seen, look at Coach Cook's coaching tree. I mean, all over, just successful coaches literally all over. What do you think it is? I mean, and even Kelly said that she learned so much when she transitioned from being that player to the coach, so I'm sure it'll be the same for you, but that people learn from him in the coaching aspect. Not just, you know, he doesn't just turn out great players, but he also turns out great coaches. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, he has such a growth mindset, and he's always trying to learn. I think that can be contagious, and then everyone's really bought into what he's doing. And, you know, we do a lot at Nebraska of, like, the aspect of, like, film and nutrition and everything that goes into being a volleyball player. And I think when you experience that here, it helps you at the next level and helps you with coaching.
So, and then when I first got here, and I'd actually coached Hildebrand, which I know you guys were sad to see him go, but excited, you know, with Coach Reyes and Kelly coming in. But he had talked about how incredible it was to watch your growth as mentally, even just that you kind of had a big journey that you kind of went through. And I had talked to you about it in the summer, but I don't know if a lot of fans maybe know that just the process of how you got to the point that you were playing at, not just this year, but things kind of all came together for you last spring. Can you kind of take us through that journey?
Yeah, it's a long one, and it was definitely filled with a lot of ups and downs. And well, it all started, Tyler pulled me into his office, and he had a PowerPoint. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And we went through the PowerPoint, and that's where my nickname Phoenix came from, because we were going to burn the old Nicklin setting style, and a new one was going to come out of the ashes. And we actually stood outside of Devaney and we burned old photos of me setting. But then we got into training and we broke it down to the most basic level, and it was about using the ground, using your legs. And it would just be me and him in there, or me and another setter, for like an hour, 2 hours, throughout the entire fall, because season got pushed back. And I remember on some days I would just think to myself, like, I think I might be getting worse instead of better. And Tyler's all about trusting the process, and you know, every day he would relay, like, okay, we just one step at a time, and then it's all going to come together. And so that whole fall we trained. I did a completely different new technique and setting. I tried to change as much as I could, and he was huge in that journey. And just having my support, or supporting me and having my back when on those days where it felt like I wasn't getting better. But then once it kind of all clicked and it all came together, I felt more free than I ever have before when I was setting. And I was out there just competing. I wasn't thinking about my setting, and that was the most special part about it. And we created our little setter group and these bonds that I will never forget. That fall and that spring was one of the most special things I've ever been a part of, just because of the growth. And one thing I love about Tyler is it's not just about the volleyball, it's about how you can relate it to life. And so there was all these lessons intertwined within the growth of the volleyball. And I actually had coffee with him today. It makes me sad thinking about him leaving. But he was so huge on that journey for me, and just really opening me up and letting me go out there and be the competitor that I can be. And I'm super grateful for it.
I mean, you obviously have such a great personality and competitive, but just the mental part of that you said it had to click for you, and I know you worked so hard physically, but the growth mentally that you kind of went through over these last 4 years, how much of a journey was that and a process, and are you thankful for that as well?
Yeah, I'm naturally like a control freak and love everything to be perfect, and when you're in the setter position, that just can't be your mindset, because you know you're gonna have bad sets. You know, you're gonna set maybe I think I set 110 balls in the final. You're bound to have like 1 or 2, 3 bad sets in there, and so just learning that I don't have to be perfect when I'm out there. And then it also separating volleyball from my identity. That took me a while to realize. I think when you have them intertwined, your self-confidence kind of goes down, and I think I had gotten to a point there where everything in my life was about volleyball, and my confidence weighed on whether we won or we lost, or how I set in a game. And so I've grown a lot to be able to separate that, and I still struggle with it today. But just being able to, hey, I'm me, I'm Nicklin, and you know, volleyball is something that I do, something that I love to do, but it doesn't define who I am.
Man, she is so impressive, and I just think it speaks volumes to her and the person she is and the leader she is, that, I mean, she's the program's all-time leading setter.
Yeah.
And she's willing to step away from that and do whatever role that means, even if that means cheering, you know, her butt off on the bench, as she just said. But I think it'll be big for the program, and she wants to help. She wants to coach. So, you know, she can help, you know, Kennedy along, as if it's Kennedy or Ani, we've seen what she can do. So I think it'll be a major lift to have her still be around. But I asked her, she's going to graduate in May, what the master's plan is. And she doesn't know yet, but she said that Coach Cook is talking about maybe trying to start a coaching master's.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
How big would that be? I mean, I feel like coaches of all sports would try to line up for that. If Coach Cook is trying to help get you a master's in coaching.
That does not surprise me.
But that full interview is out right now. That was just a short clip, or a 10-minute clip of it. I talked to her for about 22 minutes. It's up on our podcast pages. I mean, we covered all kinds of topics. She's absolutely fascinating. So if you want to hear the rest of it, it's up right now.
Birthday girl, too.
Yeah, I didn't even know that we pushed out the podcast yesterday on her birthday. So happy
22.
birthday, Nicklin.
Happy birthday. And as Crypto said in our YouTube chat, she was the face of that team. She really was. Most people thought it would be Lexi, but Lexi kind of took more of a back seat with this team. It was Nicklin's team.
And I think just how she plays. That was one of the first things that, you know, people would tell me why they liked watching her is how fiery she is and how much passion she plays with. You could just tell how much it meant to her to be out on the court. So, and we actually talked about that I didn't get a chance to leave in this clip of it, but just kind of her competitiveness, where that came from. And yeah, I think you like, not everybody, but I think a lot of people relate to someone that plays that kind of emotion, and you just see just how much it means to her. And I enjoy it. I like someone that plays like that and is, you know, when she has a big play, you know it. And I think that team fed off of that. So hopefully we'll find out who's going to maybe step into that and be that emotional type of leader for this team.
The center really is the quarterback of that sport, and that's what Nicklin has been. Great representative of Husker volleyball. Really interesting chat. And again, folks, go find it on our podcast page. Listen to the entire interview with Nicklin Hames. Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance, buy online at woodhouse.com. Back with more Sports Nightly next.
Start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford and experience the difference. Our team is ready to help you get the job done with our full lineup of all new 2022 trucks. The 2022 F-150, Ranger, and Maverick are built tough and ready to tackle whatever lies ahead. Shop online anytime at WoodhouseFord.com or visit us in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth. Woodhouse Ford has something for everyone.
From vintage sneakers to bacon-scented soap to water fountains for your pet, all can be had with a few simple clicks. Problem is, you never really know what you're going to get until they show up at your door. Introducing Ford Blue Advantage. It's used car buying that's built for you. Not only can you shop for used vehicles online, in person, or both, you can also test drive before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Plus, get history reports, vehicle inspections, Ford warranties, and the expertise of factory-trained techs. Visit FordBlueAdvantage.com today.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. During the summer of 2021, 3 UNL students helped safeguard cattle across the state. Neely Anderson, Tatiana Jones, and Ashton Commons developed secure beef supply plans that prevent the spread of disease outbreak. The plans protect nearly 850,000 cattle across our state and provide greater economic security for this vital industry.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics. You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, digital and social media, radio advertising, and more. Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
This isn't the start. Before I got here, I started training. And before that, I did something to my back. But my first move was Athletico Physical Therapy. That's where I'd eventually end up. So why not start there? I mean, my therapist immediately found the source of my pain. These are the same physical therapists who work with elite marathon runners. So soon, I was back to running, but without pain. You got this.
It all starts at Athletico. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
From sprains and stitches to sore throats and sinus infections. When it's care that can't wait, count on CHI Health Clinic Priority Care. Simply walk in 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll get the quality care you need without an appointment. And you'll never pay more than a regular primary care visit. Get in, get out, and get on with your day. Find a location near you at chihealth.com/priority care.
Did you know that cigarette butts make up a large portion of microplastics in the ocean, which end up in 70% of seabirds and 30% of sea turtles? Bank of the West is helping to solve this problem by not financing big tobacco, proving that what a bank chooses not to finance can be just as important as what it does. Learn more about what we do and don't finance at bankofthewest.com/change. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Cornerstone Bank proudly serves Nebraska with a full line of loan and deposit products. Cornerstone is large enough to handle all of your financial needs while offering the personal service you deserve and the local decision-making you expect from a family-owned community bank. Stop in or call one of the Cornerstone Bank locations near you to discover the Cornerstone difference. Bank on a solid foundation. Cornerstone Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Loan subject to approval. Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. 402-413-2400, the number to dot us up with a comment or question. Jim in Grand Island on our text line. You guys are right on with about the additions of the running backs. Just hope the offensive line gives them some holes to run through. They will only be as good as that line. That's spot on, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we talked about it. Hopefully they, with some of the guys coming back and some of those young guys getting a lot more experience and the way they kind of came together at the end, they can carry that over and getting a couple of additions in the transfer portal, too, should help as well.
Where's our offensive lineman been? Where's he been?
Hunting? No, he's actually...
he's AWOL.
I don't know. What season is it?
Is he work ever?
No, he's he's going through the whole process of getting guys to the next level. So he's going through all that process with guys at All-Star games and all of that. But he's actually going to join me for a podcast.
Wow.
So, but he can't even come into the studio. He's got to Zoom in. So
please thank him for gracing us with his
right?
presence.
So hopefully we'll be hearing from him in the next couple of days.
All right, just talking about Jeremiah. We were talking during the break. I haven't seen Brendan Stye in like 2 months. Those guys disappear.
Yeah, I mean, the football season's over, and until we start talking spring ball, it's like they hibernate.
Brendan's probably out raising money.
Yeah, for
be
sure.
my guess.
And Tim just said Jeremiah's scared to face you after all the picks.
You took him down.
Yes,
you did.
After you came in, he came in hot trying to beat me, but he couldn't even come close. But yeah, I think he is pretty excited about the Bills because he let me know about when the Cardinals got beat. Even though I've said repeatedly that I don't have an NFL team, I cheer for players and whatnot. But he let me know how bad Arizona was on Sunday. I'm like, okay. And I said, for that comment, I'm going for the Chiefs because he doesn't like the Chiefs.
He does
and
not
he's
like
for the
Chiefs.
Bills. So, but we'll be hearing a lot if the Bills keep winning.
He is a member of Bill's Mafia. Has he shown you the video of him busting a table?
No.
Oh yeah, he's done the table dive where that's a big thing in Buffalo. They jump off of the back of a pickup or whatever onto a card table and bust it to shreds.
Oh.
He did it. I think it was in Kansas City last year during the playoffs. But the video's there. It's out there.
I'll have to, is it like on, I'll have to Google it.
No, it might be on his phone.
Okay.
Or his computer, which we know we can get access to his computer. So we'll do that with Jeremiah. Tim.
Hopefully he's not listening.
Tim on the ticker talked about Husker baseball. And I know a lot of people, when the schedule was released in the fall, Nebraska was going to have their home opener on March the 4th with San Diego State coming to Haymarket Park. They double booked. San Diego State, yes.
On purpose?
I don't know.
How do you mess it up?
I'm not going to speculate too much, but they also came to agreement to play that weekend at Arizona State. They've chosen to take that contract. So Nebraska was without an opponent for March 4th, 5th, and 6th. They have found those opponents, as Tim told us in the ticker, but they're not going to be here. They're going to have to go to Arlington, Texas, and play a couple games with UT Arlington and Northwestern State. So, folks, for your home opener now for Husker baseball, it's not till March 11th, which the weather, that's one more week for the weather to get better. So I know some people will be disappointed. They were looking forward to getting out there March 4th. They're not going to be there. You can go sit in an empty ballpark, but there's going to be nobody else there. Disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, you always, the way that the fans show up and show out. I don't know if I've told you this, but I have a cousin that played baseball for Oklahoma State, and he told me that his favorite road game, the favorite road stadium that he played in his entire career at Oklahoma State was here.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
yeah.
He just talked about how great the atmosphere is. So I know, even teams coming in like and appreciate that fans show up and show out. But kind of like all the sports, and not everybody gets that when they play. But, at least it gives it maybe another couple weeks to warm up.
That's right. Hopefully we don't have snow still on the ground by March 11th. So there you go, folks. I know people have been waiting about those season tickets and those type of things. You have an extra week for that. Wyatt in Alma on a text line said, is there a preseason rankings for Big Ten baseball? If so, where are the Huskers projected? The league puts out a top 6, but they do it the first week of the game. So we're still about a month away for that. Same thing with softball. The week of the first softball games, they'll put out a top 6 for softball. Softball actually starts a week before baseball, so they start 3 weeks from Friday. How about that? That's when college softball gets going. Baseball starts the week after that. So college baseball is only about a month
Were there any
away.
other Big Ten teams in that top 25 that came out?
No. And Huskers D1 baseball came out, did not have Nebraska in there. That's okay. Nebraska's got a lot to prove. They've got a lot of holes to fill from last year's team. So the opener is February 18th, but the home opener not till March 11th. So baseball in about 4 weeks, but not for home games here in Lincoln. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. When we come back, chance to talk some Husker tennis. Sean Miamie, the Husker men's coach, will join us. He'll talk about a big match they've got tomorrow night at the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center against number 2 Baylor. That's coming up.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen in on a transmission from Major Laura Stanton, the first person on Mars after a 7-month mission to the planet.
Houston, do you read me?
Copy that, Major. Anything you need?
Yeah, what were last night's Powerball numbers?
With the starting jackpot in the millions in drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, everybody wants to know about Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery.
What's it look like there, Major?
Red.
Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
At Subaru, they love building vehicles for those who pack a lot into life. The redesigned 2021 Crosstrek is their way of saying more power to you. An upgrade in horsepower means you have a world of fun and adventure waiting for you. And the Crosstrek comes with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Visit DeTow Subaru at 27th Street and Jamie Lane in Lincoln or at DeTowSubaru.com. Upgraded horsepower available on select models.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You live in a smart home powered by Cox Internet, so you're not thinking about the pizza delivery. You're thinking how nice it is to get everyone together for a fun night. You're not thinking about the pizza. Maybe just a little.
Cox Home Life. Show me the front porch camera.
Pizza!
View your Cox Home Life cameras right from your TV using your Contour voice remote. Visit cox.com/thisishome to learn more.
Advertised features require subscription to Cox Internet and Contour TV. A high-speed internet connection is required. Home Life Security Services subject to Home Life Security Service Agreement. Cox Home Life Services provided by Cox licensed entities. See cox.com/licenses.
Isn't it about time to add a new piece of Husker gear to your closet? Check out the new 255 collection, inspired by the legendary coach Tom Osborne. With the mission to connect style with Nebraska pride, 255 was designed with the fan in mind. From Hastings to Lincoln, Coach to statesman, leader to legend. Thomas William Osborne. It's all in the name. It's all in the numbers. 255 wins. This is TWO 55. Get yours today at shop.huskers.com or other participating retailers. For more information, visit huskers.com/255.
You could win a 2022 Porsche Macan from Porsche Omaha this season. 4 lucky Husker fans will have a chance to win a 2022 Porsche Macan if they make a putt on the court at halftime at one of 4 home men's basketball games this season. Each contestant will receive a pair of tickets, hospitality, and a visit with the broadcast team before one of the home games with Ohio State, Rutgers, Northwestern, or Iowa. For more information and the official rules, go to huskers.com/putt.
United Healthcare believes small businesses are vital to our economy and an important part of our communities. Join United Healthcare in celebrating small businesses. I'm Rob Broomfield, United Healthcare of Nebraska's CEO and a graduate of the University of Nebraska. We want to recognize your small business with the Spotlight on Small Business Sweepstakes. Winners receive radio interviews, social media recognition, and more. To enter, visit huskers.com/spotlight. United Healthcare, proud partner of Husker Sports.
Everyone knows that Dakota Mac is known for their great rates on long-term fixed ag real estate loans. But just how long-term are they? Well, they're even longer term than your sister's piano recital at church that time you drank a whole big cup of soda right before you left home and insisted to your mom that you didn't have to use the bathroom. We're talking that long-term.
Hi, it's Boyd Minry from Dakota Mac. Give me a call at 402-463-4637 to learn all about our competitive rates on 30-year fixed-rate loans.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. The university has a new undergraduate business and law major. Students majoring in business and law are learning to use legal knowledge to better solve business challenges. They are also gaining skills in regulatory compliance, financial services, securities regulation, and corporate social responsibility. Upon graduation, they will boost the state's talent pool in these critical areas of expertise.
We're back inside of our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Welcome back, Sports Alley, here on a Wednesday night. Delighted to be joined now by men's tennis coach Sean Miamie, who is in, believe it or not, his 4th year. I can't believe it's already year 4 for you as head coach of the Huskers.
Seems like it's flown by in a lot of ways, but it's also been really challenging with everybody dealing with COVID and whatnot. So 2 of those years really definitely got hit, and this year has been already had to make some adjustments. But yeah, it's kind of flown by, and feel like we're slowly making some progress.
Do you feel like it's your program now? Because there's always an adjustment period for you and the players that you inherit to kind of make it feel like it's your own.
Yeah, I do. I feel like this is a group. This group, I feel like more than the last couple, obviously, that are really kind of embodying what we're trying to do and trying to establish as this program. So certainly need to continue to improve and show it on the court, but I think that they've done a lot of really good work in the offseason, and I think we're moving in the right direction with that.
So you launched your second semester season last week. You got had to shuffle a little bit because of COVID again, but you got Creighton in here. How'd you feel like the guys played?
Really good. I think, like you said, it's great to get a match. I mean, I think at the beginning you want to get on the court and play and see where the guys are at, and I think in this case we were thankful that they were able to come down. They're only an hour away, and we can play them. We got everybody in the match that was physically able. We had one guy that is dealing with COVID, but the rest of the team was able to compete and contribute to the win, so that's good. That's not always the case. I mean, we're carrying 10 guys, and usually, we're playing 6, 7, or 8 of them. So to get everybody a chance to win, I think was good. Good start.
Tell us about your one. Tell us about your number 1 singles player.
Yeah, it's a good question because we've this year Dario Huber played 1 against Creighton and had a good win there, but we've got a couple other guys that I think will probably jump in there. I had to sit Will Gleason, who's from Lincoln, Nebraska. I had to sit him out along with Shunya Mariyama, who's another guy who contributed last year. Both of them played 1 and 2 last year. So they're going to shuffle into the mix and be in there. I think Will's going to make some appearances there at times, and Shunya's proven that he can compete there. He played 1, I would say the last maybe 4 matches last year for us. So we feel like we've gotten better for sure at deeper, at least.
Take me through the process of determining the lineup. Is that just strictly practice? Or how do you go about setting that each week?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And you know, our team is so close. Everybody on our team is really, really similar. In some cases, you get one player that's really distinguished himself and is nationally ranked. And in our case, we don't have that at the moment. So we can kind of go based off of how they've done in practice, how they've done in the fall tournaments, how they've done throughout the year. I mean, this year we've only had one match so far, but, you know, about a couple months in, we're going to have a good idea of where everyone's playing and where they're at.
How much does the opponent maybe, can you factor that in? Somebody maybe doesn't handle the backhand as well, or do you get that deep into it?
We do, and you're supposed to put the lineup in order of strength, and I think that's something we try to stick to. Now, in our case, where everyone's pretty similar, we could make those adjustments, but we also don't know the opposing lineup until 1 hour before the match. So we exchange those at the same time, and so then I get a chance to see his 6, and he gets to see my 6. So it's really hard to do the matchup game unless you're certain that they've got a couple guys that have been playing in those spots and haven't moved. Another scenario, too, is after the doubles is played, you're allowed to take someone out of the lineup. And so if you do that, it obviously shifts the whole lineup and it changes it for the opponent. So it could get a little bit tricky, and it's kind of, there is a little bit of strategy involved there. But, you know, it's, for the most part, you try and do straight up.
Again, visiting with Sean Miamie, Husker men's tennis coach here on Sports Nightly. Okay, you got a big matchup this weekend. Here comes Baylor, or your next match is with Baylor, the #2 team in the country. This will be a pretty good barometer, I think, for your guys to kind of know where you're at.
Yeah, spot on, spot on. That's kind of the idea. Is I love to give them challenges throughout the year, and this is certainly one of them. Baylor's an excellent program, and they've got great coaches, great players, and they've done a really good job. They've lost in the finals last year. So I think for our guys to get on the court and compete with them is going to be a great barometer to figure out where we're at and what we where we find our success, where we find things that we need to work on. And no, I think it's an exciting time, and I'm hoping that we get a great crowd. I mean, they're going to see some great tennis and watch some good stuff on Thursday.
Well, yeah, I misspoke because it's Thursday. It's not this weekend. Usually you do play a lot of matches on your weekends, but it's Thursday, 5 o'clock out at the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center. How attractive was that, the tennis center, for you wanting this job 4 years ago? What was that like, the facilities that are still fairly new?
Yeah, I think overall Nebraska's just everything that they bring to the table was a big part of it. You know, came from a place that had a lot of resources, and so I came here on my interview and thought, okay, well, what am I going to see here that's different than what I had in Ann Arbor? And I was really blown away by just all of the facilities, not just the tennis center. I think it is a beautiful place to play. We're certainly really lucky. But just everything that they can offer here, from the strength and conditioning to the nutrition to the NEPL to the sports psych, all that really made me feel like this is a place where you can have that success. So all of it, and then of course the people. I think the people were great here, and just the enthusiasm within the staff I think was awesome. So that did play a factor, but I think a lot of places have those facilities now. I mean, it's kind of the thing now, and if you don't have it, you're really struggling. And if you do, certainly you can highlight it, but most of the people that we're recruiting against have a great facility, and that's a cool thing. I think it's great for college tennis and good for their experience when they go.
This is a big week. We mentioned Baylor's on Thursday night at home. Then you go to Oklahoma. They're ranked too. You get them over the weekend. Let's bring it back to the Big Ten. What's it look like to you as you get ready to launch into some of those matches here in the coming weeks?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Ohio State, Michigan, and Illinois are kind of separated themselves. Northwestern is probably in that group as well. They're a really good team, well coached. And then after that, I really feel like it's up for grabs. You know, there's a lot of teams that are trying to make our mark, kind of like us, and I think Wisconsin's really improving. And then Penn State's always kind of been in that mix right there. Purdue's getting stronger and doing well. Michigan State has really done a good job with their program. So all of us are really trying to fight and get in there. Indiana's always been really consistent. So I think all those teams are really right in a good little spot where it's going to be super competitive.
You mentioned some of your veteran players and guys that have been in the program for a couple of years. How about some of the newbies on your team? How are you seeing progress? What was the fall like for them?
Yeah, it's always eye-opening for them in the fall, because college tennis is something they're so not used to. I mean, especially if they're international, because they don't understand what college tennis is. They don't understand how it works, and so they're just getting used to everything and realizing how competitive it is. Even if they've done well, we brought a kid from Germany who's done really well in Germany, but he comes here and he's experiencing just everybody's going to compete and fight. So we're excited about those new guys. I think they're going to add a lot to our team. I think throughout the year we're going to see where they fit. But for right now, we've got Dario Huber. As I said, he's a transfer and 5th year, so he's got the experience. He knows the deal, and that's why I think he's going to be able to absorb some of that at the top. But Calvin Mueller's a fellow from Germany who's really got big game, and Ronnie Haitarantas from Finland, who's a really good player, good fighter, and people are going to love watching him play, and he leaves his heart out on the court. So I think we've got a good mix, of those guys that are helping out.
Kind of a worldwide sport, as we know. How difficult was COVID for you just to recruit and try to make contact with some of these student athletes?
Yeah, well, the contact part is not as difficult because the internet and just ways that you can connect with people. But seeing them, watching them, evaluating them, and just really getting to know them and their family and just what they're about was difficult. It was, and I think also they didn't get to play as much in junior tennis because of COVID. So then the results are less, and so you're really making evaluations off of, well, someone knows them, or they played a guy that I happen to know. I actually had a good instance. The kid from Finland, I ended up getting connected with him because a player of mine at Michigan played him and told me, hey, this guy's a good player, you might want to look into him. So it's just some of that sort of stuff is going on, and you're just trying to do the best you can and try and piece together their level and who they are, from afar.
How challenging was it just kind of keeping your athletes fit and fed during COVID? I mean, training table got shut down for a while there. I mean, it probably really juggling a bunch of things there.
Yeah, I do credit Nebraska. I mean, the way they kept that training table going and doing the best they can to grab and go, and so guys would come and get meals, they would get lunches and dinners on the road, to take to their home, and just really amazing what they did. So that was great. Just getting them matches was the hardest part. Getting them competition was really, really difficult because they were going to have to do a lot of it on their own last year because the fall was shut down for us in the Big Ten. And then we could only play a Big Ten conference schedule last year. So those two things really hurt us from a competitive standpoint. You can imagine, I mean, you've got a kid that gets maybe 40, maybe about 30-some matches. He ends up only getting 8. There's a big difference. There's a big gap there. Game time reps are really important for us. So we feel like we've been able to bridge that gap a little bit this fall and bring some of these guys along. So we're thrilled to get playing some tennis.
Good. I don't know about you, Coach, but I'm losing some sleep these next couple of weeks. The Australian Open's on, and they're on late at night, and then I'll wake up early in the morning, there's still a match going on. I'm sure you're watching some of that.
That's pretty cool. No, yeah, it is. It's a fun time of the year. I always like the beginning because you get to see the players and what they did in the offseason and who's sharp and who's not. And luckily, we've got a couple guys that I've had some connection with that are playing down there, and so it's kind of neat to see how they do. Some college guys are playing, so I always try to keep up with them. But no, it's really cool. It's really cool to see, and tennis is being played, and that's great.
The time difference is, I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and ESPN or whichever channel has it on, so they're still got a match going on, and it's midnight or 1 o'clock over there.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly.
We appreciate you coming in. 5 o'clock Thursday over at the Dillon Tennis Center. We invite folks to come out and watch you play Baylor.
Absolutely. It's free. It's open to everyone, and I think they're going to see some great tennis, so we're thankful.
Appreciate you coming in. There he is, Sean Miamie, with us here on Sports Saturday. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We will wrap up the show as Jessica rejoins me next.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day by day, donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen in on a transmission from Major Laura Stanton, the first person on Mars after a 7-month mission to the planet.
Houston, do you read me?
Copy that, Major. Anything you need?
Yeah, what were last night's Powerball numbers?
With the starting jackpot in the millions in drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, everybody wants to know about Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery.
What's it look like there, Major?
Red.
Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it is safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief, nutrition, or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Don't let the cold winter worry you. As Nebraska's leading supplier of propane, you can count on Sapp Brothers to keep your family warm this winter. You're like family, and your safety is the #1 priority of Sapp Brothers. When it comes to your propane needs, Sapp Brothers has you covered. Visit www.sappbros.net/petroleum to find your local Sapp Brothers propane expert. Celebrating 50 years of fueling America's heartland and welcoming guests, Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Husker Athletics.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
I'm Bruce Chubbuck, and I'm your local Flat Branch Home Loans lender. At Flat Branch Home Loans, we pride ourselves on living, working, and playing in the communities we serve. In my playing days at the University of Nebraska, I was known as a blue-collar worker. I take the same pride in being your mortgage professional as I did in representing Husker Nation. Head to brucechubbuck.com to learn more. Let's get you home.
A division of Flat Branch Mortgage, Inc., NMLS 224149, Equal Housing Lender. For licensing info, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family. Shop Woodhouse first. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations. Simplified car buying to save you time. Shop finance. Buy it online at woodhouse.com. Still a few minutes left in the program. 402-413-2400. How many times have you run your car through the car wash in the last month? Have you done it yet?
No.
You got to get that sand and salt off there. Got to get it off there.
Oh, I should probably.
Yeah, so the next semi-warmy day, go run it through there.
I do love the car wash. I love sitting in the car wash. It's fun. But good call. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah, and then inevitably you do it, and like 2 days later we get a storm.
Yeah.
But you got to try to get that gunk off your car. It's hard on the paint. Little tip from a northerner.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good to know, because I would have not thought of that.
You know what was disappointing last week with the playoff games? They were not very competitive.
No.
And I really thought the Rams-Cardinals would be a really good game. It was not. Maybe this week will be really good.
I hope so. I'm with you. I was just pretty disappointed. It was not. I thought maybe a couple of them would, maybe come down, but none of them were really close at all. I mean, maybe the Cowboys game.
It was close, and an interesting couple calls by the Cowboys late that everybody's been dissecting.
Yeah, but never hurts my feelings to see the Cowboys go down.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe you'd be a bit of a Cowboys fan.
No, I'm not a Cowboys fan. And I think it's just so funny. They're so dramatic, and everybody's so dramatic about the Cowboys that when
Skip is.
Yeah, for sure.
And the boys are a little pouty this week because their Steelers are out.
I mean, we knew that was going to happen. But how about, I'm kind of for the Bengals.
Are you?
How
Yeah,
awesome
Zach
would
Taylor.
that story would be?
Zach Taylor, so happy for him.
And they've been so bad.
They have been awful.
So
he is one of the nicest men in football. So happy for him. He had a terrific career as a Husker. So proud of Zach. And go Zach as they play the Titans.
Yeah, and as we talked about in the break, how big that would be to see Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, it's already a big recruiting tool for Mickey Joseph. But hey, look at my guy doing big things in the Super Bowl.
That'll put a wrap. Thanks to Andrew and Tim. Andrew left, so I shouldn't even say his name. Have a great night. Do it again tomorrow.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You're in the driver's seat with Woodhouse. Shop, finance, and buy your next vehicle your way. From the comfort of your home at woodhouse.com, one of our 19 dealerships, or a combination of both. It's that easy. Plus, offering the most wanted new makes and leading pre-owned models, your next vehicle is on the lot or on its way. Shop confidently with the Woodhouse team today. Serving customers and communities since 1975. This is Woodhouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to listen in on a transmission from Major Laura Stanton, the first person on Mars after a 7-month mission to the planet.
Houston, do you read me?
Copy that, Major. Anything you need?
Yeah, what were last night's Powerball numbers?
With the starting jackpot in the millions in drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, everybody wants to know about Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery.
What's it look like there, Major?
Red.
Top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Momentum. It's building at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with game-changing work in precision agriculture, nanoscience, and digital humanities. We're unlocking mysteries in brain research, solving the impossible with remote surgery using robots, and we're creating bold futures with world-leading research in early childhood education. We don't slow down, and we're not letting up. We are Nebraska.
Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go is mealtime made easy. Just order delicious meals online for convenient curbside pickup or have it delivered. Want breakfast? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Need lunch? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Doing dinner? Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go. Get pancakes, burgers, fried chicken, lasagna, Hai Chai Asian dishes, sushi, pizza, and more. If you're craving it, Hy-Vee Mealtime to Go